So one of the things that I really like about it is it's built by a group of engineers that are involved with work at height, and it's a robust machine. So it's built with tree people in mind. The thing that I've learned in using it is that it takes a tinker's mind. So you have to have a thought process to be able to utilize this thing, but it doesn't take rocket science. So what I'm gonna do is load the rope. So that's the first step, okay? So real important. So go ahead, Mark, go ahead and describe. So what's real important is that I open the tensioner up so that there's no tension on the mechanism that feeds the rope into the machine. So I'm gonna place tension into the rope. I'm gonna feed it until I can't manually feed it anymore. So what's happening is this is actually wrapping around a mechanism inside that grabs the rope and then self-feeds it.
And one thing you want to do is have that trigger while you're pushing also, because that will help assist pushing around the drive shaft inside.
So what I'm doing here is I'm putting pressure down from the top and then tapping the trigger.
And so once you have it as far as it'll go, what you want to do now is make sure you turn that tensioner knob in the counterclockwise direction until you get to the neutral position. And so what he's done is he put the initial wraps on with the tensioner out of the way, and now he's going to put a little back pressure on or back tension so that way it'll feed the rope first.
So one of the things you'll see is when you look down into the hole, the rope is actually coming out and feeding out. This brake, this functions as a brake and a way to descend on it, is in the way, so I have to move it out of the way. So now I'm ready to feed the ascender onto the line. It stops. Now I have to put the tension on the line so the mechanism grabs the rope.
And so what he's doing in there is the drive shaft is like a gear, and he's pushing the rope into the drive shaft, which is making like a gear mesh to drive the rope through the system. Basically what that does is it creates a one-hand ascent, so that way you actually don't have to stand or pull on the output button.
Okay. Tension right?
The whole system itself with the battery is 25 pounds.
So what we've done is we've worked with Ronin directly about a way to utilize this rope and utilize it safely, and backup is important. So we've determined for our uses as a company, we've thought something very simple, a Blake's hitch on the line above the mechanism that is separate from the unit to function as a backup. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna clip directly into the bottom attachment. And if Mark wants to talk about the ratings of these,
sure,
in terms of our industry standards are concerned. So if there's any
the upper and lower clip for the attachment points here, you have a 5,000 pound load rating. The device itself is rated for 400 pound lifting capacity. And so basically you can lift 400 pounds on a single line. There's also a double up, or you can use a 2-to-1 or a 3-to-1. We allow up to a 3-to-1, and you can actually go up to 1,200 pounds of lifting on the device.
So then I'm gonna hang and ascend. So again, the benefit to the climber is I get up to my work position. So I'm going to lanyard in to a suitable landing zone. Once I'm lanyarded in, I can stand up or I can allow slack into the system. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some of the tension out of the tensioner, and that's gonna release some tension on the rope. It's still safe, it's not going anywhere. So the mechanism in the machine holds you stable, and I have the backup. So now, what I'm gonna do is if I pull down on the brake and just come up a little bit, I can come down to take tension off the machine. So then, what I can do is get into my work positioning equipment from here, and go to work. And what we typically do is the way we run this machine is we have a ground anchor that then we lower the machine down to the ground. So pretty amazing. Awesome. So we actually have a unit that has a reverse feature on it that actually is powered reverse,
Yes.
that we can actually feed the rope out of the machine by pushing the button.
Yep.
So this particular unit, we release tension, right? And
yeah, what he's going to do now to release the tension is screw it in clockwise. It's a 2-link mechanism here, so it's a little counterintuitive. When you're actually going clockwise, you're releasing the tension because of the 2-link system. And so what he's done is release the mechanism and now he's backing the rope off. So with the reverse mechanism right now, all we have to do is hit the trigger and the rope will go ahead and back out. But because this one doesn't have it in it, he's actually got to walk it off this. So as you can see, it only takes 15 to 30 seconds to actually pull the rope through the system. And now he's putting back tension on, which is making that gear mesh and driving it out so you don't have to tan. Usually it's good capacity to test about 2 laps around a run, per se, and you have to tan the output line in order to get the capstan effect for pulling. But our tensioner system and our between the tensioner and the drive shaft create a gear mesh, and so basically it does it for you without having to tend the line. So that's how he's able to do it without tending. And one other thing is the variable speed thumb wheel that Corey was using here is as you roll the thumb wheel down, it increases your speed going up. And so you go somewhere between 1/2 foot a second to 1.4 feet per second.
Did you already talk about rope diameter? I might have missed it.
Oh no, we didn't talk about rope diameter. The system, as of now, accepts rope diameters from 10 millimeter to 12 millimeter. Kind of the sweet zone is 11 to 11.5 millimeters. Kind of the sweet spot of the system.
so this is pretty important, and one thing we learned early on is that one of the things that can be a little frustrating with this machine is that if you don't properly prepare the end of the rope, it won't properly feed into the machine, and it can be real frustrating.
That's true.
So let's talk about that for a second.
So the one thing that you want to do to prepare the rope, depending on what kind of rope you have, this here is actually a Technora Kevlar sheet. So this actually doesn't melt, it's actually fire retardant. And so here, what we end up doing is we melt the inner core, and then when the inner core is still liquid, we fold the outer core into it, and that creates a nice cone on the outside of a rope like this. Now something else, like a Kern mantle rope, Cam 3 Max,
which is what we use.
What you want to do is to snip the rope, and then you eject the inner core out, cut off about, I would say, 1/4 inch of it, and then you melt the outer core back over the inner core so it sucks in, and then when you melt it, you cone it, and you cap it. And basically what that does is when you melt the outer sheath, it makes a solidified cap over the inner core, so the inner core can't eject out. And the reason why you want to do that is because when it feeds through the system, there's tolerances in there, and that inner core can get sucked out and basically jam the rope in the system. And by capping it and coning it and trapping the inner core inside the rope, it doesn't allow it to come out, and basically you can't jam the rope in the system.
Yeah. Awesome.
Last real quick, maintenance.
Maintenance, there's a yearly maintenance schedule on it. Basically it comes back every year to one of the MRO repair stations, our facility or whatnot. And we go over basically, we inspect all the parts, make sure that there's no wear items, if there's stuff that is worn out, we can replace it. And that's done by a visual inspection at our facility.
So to reiterate, we have training that we perform in the field. So my role is to go out and do on-site training with these units. Maintenance is an item that we do instruction on. So there is a maintenance list right from the manufacturer. And I will tell you one thing that I am really excited about is that working with Ronin directly has been really painless. So having Ronin as a vendor for us is a big company, so we could call them up tomorrow and say, hey, we've got this problem, and they've been awesome to work with. So I'm excited about it for sure.
The other thing I wanted to mention is why we actually did work with an in-feed system. So we actually call this an in-feed because you feed the end of the rope through the system. Some of the other products out there have a 3/4 wrap pulley reel on it, and we went away from that because basically the rope is now trapped inside of here, which makes a safer device. And so there's less, I would say, experience, or a less experienced person could use this device in a much safer manner. just due to the 3/4 wrap around that pulley wheel, there's rope management and rope twisting that you have to keep consideration of, because the rope can actually pop off of that pulley wheel. And then additionally, with that 3/4 wrap pulley wheel, you have to have certain kind of ropes, I guess, used with it.
The last items that I want to really touch on is, so the retrieval's real easy. They've thought of everything. So they have a tether here. If we have to do a midline battery change out, we pop that, we secure it. So we secure it in a way that we don't lose it. They've thought of that. So there's a tether here that we can secure it with, and we train our folks on how to do that properly. So we can do a mid-air change out if we have to. They've incorporated a visual battery indicator here. So from a user perspective, I'm sitting right here as I'm ascending the tree. It gives me a visual indicator as to when I need to be concerned about my battery. So that's a real big benefit to us as end users.
Sure. And you actually lower the rope down on the line, right? Is that how you send the unit back down?
Yes, so we have a retrievable system with a basal anchor that we then lower down from the ground.
So basically we put a hole in the brake handle here, which a lead line can be put in. And that can be used for a few different things. So there's actually a brake release lanyard, and that will go from this tie point here to the brake handle here, where you can actually tie the brake open. And by doing that, you can actually release the tension here, tie the brake open, put some dummy weights on here, and then you can just send it down the same line.
Wow.
And so when the unit gets down to the bottom of the line, the next guy can go ahead and take it up.
Cool.